So we managed to work with cities that sometimes come from very far, but still have the wish to return wood to the communities. And the people that we work with to transform all those logs are also people that do cherish sustainable development. It takes us a lot of years to do that. It doesn't, you cannot do that overnight. So we do cross people here and there. We have been actually crossing people here and there to have a great ecosystem. But if I talk about today, we do have really great partners that share the same values as we do. And something that we don't think about is the partners that you do have, you need to have fun with them. It has to be fun every day because it is very hard work. You think, oh, every like green movement is so cool and so laid back, but actually, no, it's a lot of work. You need to get your hands dirty. I mean, I wear pearls this morning, but sometimes I'm like into the mud, like logging down some trees and cutting down some wood. So yeah, you have to be surrounded by people that just love what they do. That's a start.
Yeah, cool. Tim, do you want to like maybe jump on the same question? Like, who are the people who constitute this network? What kind of people are there, and what's important about the people in this network?
Yeah, before I answer that question, I would like to elaborate a little bit on what Marie-Yves said. I think this idea of building an ecosystem instead of like a new value chain really attracts me. And when I explained what one of the bigger city wood organizations in here does, in the one in Amsterdam, I explained also that, of course, yes, they work with trees, and by doing that, they are making a step into the circular economy and also making a step by reducing a lot of CO2. But they are doing so much more. And I think all of these organizations that I work with, and that's my answer to your questions, are typically social enterprises that do not only look at the one thing they do and doing that very well for environment or whatever sustainable goal, but they look at the whole picture, the people, planet, profit, the whole of it. So they also very much think about the well-being of their employees and the people and the environment they work in, the societies. And of course, this team also revolves around the theme of biodiversity. Cutting down a tree is not good for biodiversity generally, but you can make something from that wood that will return some biodiversity to the environment. So I think that idea attracts me a lot, Stephan, the idea of building a new ecosystem. And to properly answer your question, we of course we work with the city wood organizations, and when we returned to the Miro board, I think they were inside the processing column of the whole table. And so not so much in the retail, not so much in the beginning, but they produce stuff that is made from wood, and then. On the periphery of this network are retailers, of course, but also, for example, there's an agency in the Netherlands. It's called the Governmental Organization for Entrepreneurs, freely translated. This is a governmental board that tries to develop entrepreneurship in the Netherlands. And this is a really important partner for us because this is a new type of entrepreneurship. Many people don't understand why we need this, but I think all of us here do. So this board has taken up to the idea that this is a very good and important step into building a new system. So they support us as well. So they give us also the assignment to do this work, which is very good, so that we can put some work in this. And another very important board or company that we are in contact with is called Circular Landscaping, freely translated as well, and they have a lot of knowledge about legislation. So this is another NGO that we work with, and they can help us a lot when there's trouble with legislation. And that's some of the more important partners that we partner up with. In Dutch, they're called Circulair Terreinbeheer. I don't know if any of you know them, but there's really interesting, nice organization, and they look at wood, but also other bio streams.
We saw, for example, in Stadsout, like there's also very interesting dynamic with a shop being able to retail directly like the stuff that's being produced with local wood. But basically, we can say that Montreal is happening on a completely different scale than what's going on in Amsterdam. Just maybe to complete this quantitative comparison here in Brussels, like this year we are looking at something like 650 cubic meters. So I have the impression it's a bit more than in Amsterdam, but it's still like modest operations with compared to Marie-Ève. So maybe like just linking to this, how do you deal with that kind of quantities, Marie-Ève? Like how what is your, like in your ecosystem, who is able to process the wood, for example?
Well, we had to move, how do you say that? At first we started very like humble, like everyone, like with the mobile mill for about 2 years. And, you know, the whole team was there and was taking all the planks and, you know, sending them to the dryer. But when we got off to over like 2,000 logs, we started having a problem because it was taking way too much time and it was way too much money. And the team was getting very tired too. So we had to review how we were processing our logs. So we did manage to find an industrial sawmill outside of Montreal, but we had, you know, we're in sustainable development. So we have to stay, we have to have a partner that's pretty close to us. So we won't have too much emission of CO2. So we did find someone outside of Montreal that does transform the logs into planks, and that was the key to help us to be to get into the market, to have a good price, and to get the planks pretty fast into our inventory. But now we do have a problem. I won't lie to you because it's important to talk about it. The quantities are just getting so big because the emerald ash borer is getting just crazy in Quebec. So all the ashes are dying in Quebec. So there's just more and more and more and more. So our, well, if you want to say a problem right now is that we have to find venues for all this wood, because it's so much wood. And like I said, mainly like 80% of this wood is being shipped overseas. And we do not want to do that. We want to keep this wood local. So we have another défi. How do you say défi? I don't remember.
Challenge.
Challenge, thank you. So we have a new challenge, and it is to keep the wood local. So this year this is our challenge. So we are working on this right now, and we are working mainly with the city of Montreal because they're the one that have the most trees, to find ways to give back all this wood to the community and not sell it overseas.
Mm-hmm. And then what role, like in this like to respond to this challenge, what role does the kind of the community of designers and carpenters and the actual users of wood play in them? Very
important, actually. What we are doing right now is we do have one designer into our team, and she works in eco-conception. So what we are doing right now is we are making some literature for the city of Montreal, for all the employees, to show them that the city has a lot of wood in their inventory right now, and what they can do with it. So we want to inspire them to work with the wood, because most of the time the people see the wood, they don't know what to do with it. They don't know the properties of it. They don't know how it should go outside, inside, what kind of purpose it can have. So that's our goal, to show them what they can do with it. And we want to bring people to contact us, all designers, architects, to come to us and have a chat about how we can work with this wood. So yes, they do have a huge importance into that chain of value.
Maybe Tim, you can also like tell us a bit. Yeah, you already showed the image of the shop. Like, what is the relationship between Stadsout and maybe also other carpenters, designers that work with wood in Amsterdam?
Yeah, no, that's very interesting. I think the relationship is somewhat similar. So of course, as in Quebec or Montreal, it's by definition the idea that the wood doesn't leave the city limits. But also per definition, it's happening currently because well, there was a promise from the city of Amsterdam that more wood was going to be coming our way, and I'm saying our way, but I explained yesterday I'm not the part of City Wood Stadsout Amsterdam myself. I just collaborate with them. But let's say the more wood was coming our way, and then this was promised but didn't really happen. But a large storage facility was already rented just outside the city for much or for storing much wood, and then the wood didn't come. So this is sort of a different problem than you have, Marie-Eve. So there was they were ready for more wood, but it didn't arrive. But and to answer your question, there's a lot of carpenters. The store of City Wood in Stadsout is in the center of Amsterdam, and a lot of carpenters are in the same area, close to it. And as I explained yesterday, the preference of Stadsout Amsterdam is not to make tables themselves or make products, but to just cut the wood and sell it to other people. So the carpenters are very important partners. And of course they can do it themselves, but that's just not the idea, their own idea about their business model. They work to collaborate with a lot of carpenters, and people enter the shop and say, I would like a table from your wood. And when somebody asks something like this, they just find a nice carpenter that fits with the question, and they collaborate in a triangle. So there's the customer, there's the wood producer, which is Stadsout, and then there's the carpenter that actually makes the product. And I don't think that getting rid of the wood is now currently the big challenge. It's more receiving the wood.
But if I understand correctly, for Marie-Eve, for you it's the opposite. Like the supply is there, but it's more like finding enough demand.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. I was wondering, do you receive the wood for free from the municipalities?
They do give us for free, but you know the deal, how it works. So it's actually after there's a lot of money involved.
The cost of the transformation, the cost of cutting.
Transport is just amazing money, and the transformation itself is pretty amazing. And even just to store it's so much money.
Yeah, like of course.
Right now we do have an inventory outside of Montreal, and we're wondering how we're just gonna sell this wood fast enough so it won't cost us too much, because COVID-19 is kicking our butt.
And are you kiln drying most of the wood, or
it's all being dried off in the industrial dryer?
All of it.
All of it.
To get also the rotation faster.
Yes, and also we have to do it because our wood has been infested with the emerald ash borer. So we have to dry it like in good standards, so we won't propager. How do you say propager?
Yeah, the disseminate the disease, huh? Like you want to keep the disease confined, yeah. So you have to treat it, and kiln drying is one of the ways to do it.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. Again, I mean, like one of the things that we, I mean, like here in Brussels, I mean, the development of the demand is obviously like an important part of our job. Although like our activities are actually like also very much concentrated on producing the wood itself, which is like so this is why we're also like looking into developing partnerships within the ecosystem with other people that will be able to produce, have products, like create the demand. And but we don't have a lot of structural wood. Like we have beech wood, for example, that is traditionally more used in furniture and flooring and staircases and that sort of thing. But with your ash wood, like what is the, like Dirk was asking, like can you also build houses with it? Like is it structural wood that you can use?
No, it's mainly for tables, for chairs, for tabletops. So that's pretty much it, but not for structural. That would be a good idea. That would be great though, because right now we do have a crisis in Canada for carpentry wood.
Yeah.
But hash trees are not part of it. It's way more expensive than carpentry wood. But that's very sad because we would be selling a whole lot because a lot of houses are being built right now.
But what about wood in Amsterdam? Like, what kind of trees are you looking at in your ecosystem?
I don't know details about that so much. I know there's a lot of birch, if I say that correctly, bark.
Birk is beech.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Quite a lot of poplars.
Poplar
and,
trees. Yeah.
Else. I don't know the English word.
Ash. That's the same. That's the
okay.
ash.
So,
the ash
yeah,
tree,
yeah. So, but it's very different. So these are quite common city trees, as far as I know. Oak as well. But the problem is because the quantity is relatively low, especially compared to what Mary-Eve is telling us. And the problem is that you're very dependent on what comes in. So at some point, and prefer Stad Amsterdam would prefer, for example, to sell to building markets. I don't know if that's if you understand me. Yeah. So of course they have a lot of customers, so that would be a nice revenue stream. And maybe margins would be a little bit lower, but at least it's a quick way to sell standard measures of wood. But the problem is it's really hard to form a contract around this because you don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah, I think it's quite. I mean, it's so interesting. I think that to see that these different urban wood initiatives are very similar in a certain aspect, because we are like, I mean, we are going to the mobile sawmill first, and then we're scaling up, and then then you're confronted with storage, and then like you have to develop the market and all that. But at the same time, I think in terms of like the entrepreneurial drive and also the strategy, things are really quite different every time that you dig a bit deeper. So for example, yesterday we also talked to the guys from Antwerp that also have like a very different take to it, and there was one or two other initiatives from the Netherlands. I have the impression that we in Brussels, we're doing things a bit differently than both of you actually, because like we don't have this ash borer supply. Like, that's not what's really driving the initiative and the supply. We have these forests around Brussels. So, and at the same time, we want to have like a commercially viable model. So actually, we are we're starting to be also selective in what kind of trees we work with, because we want to develop a certain market, and we are like more looking into what the demand is right now. So we have a lot of beech trees around, but we're trying not to buy only beech trees, because we know, for example, that competitors prefer oak. So like maybe Benjamin, like who's also here in this panel, and Dirk, like Benjamin, maybe you want to come in here and say a bit about how we select trees, or what kind of trees we want to work with, because you, from your perspective as a carpenter, so Benjamin works with us, and he's kind of on the ground. And when I say always like, oh, Benjamin, there's beech trees everywhere, like let's go for beech trees, Benjamin is like, let's find oak, because people want oak. Maybe you can like say a few words about this tension.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. Oak. Everybody wants oak, but also wood for outdoor, because everybody wants a bench, a cabin, or something, and so Douglas or pine or etc. is very important too. But beechwood is great because a lot of things can be done with that, about food or about table, etc. But yeah, we want to select also some more rare things, I think, like I don't know in English, but châtaignier, chestnut, or more like we had the black cherry, which are very valuable for carpenters, because it's also a way to sell something more rare and more unique. But we have the chance in Brussels to have the link with the forest, and I think not depends the essence. The link is there with the forest, because the people are in have the habits to work in this forest, and yeah, so we have this kind of totem, or I don't know, but the intrinsic value, which is yeah, also important. You know, yeah. That's all, I think. Yeah.
Okay, maybe someone else wants to ask a question. We also have the people from Wood Park here in this session. Like, do you have questions about Montreal, Amsterdam, or you want to compare with what you are doing in your forest? Nienke is also still with us. Like, Nienke, do you have a question or reaction?
Well, yeah. Well, no, not really, because I'm not really busy with the supply of wood to producers. So no, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Fair enough. Yeah, so yeah, Tim, yeah, you want to ask something?
Yeah, I have a question to Marie-Eve. Yesterday, when we introduced this topic, we also discussed the fact that quite a lot of organizations, Stadshart Amsterdam, for example, but there's also another one. Ted was here yesterday. He's from another area in the Netherlands that has a few small villages, and they have a Stadshart initiative. Both of these initiatives would prefer to grow, not to be huge, but to grow a little bit. And to grow, quite often you need financing. And I was wondering, did you have financing from a regular bank to grow to the size you have currently? No, and that's recognizable. And Stadshart Amsterdam is still receiving support. They use the location of the municipality, for example, for free, and then they receive a lot of the wood for free. But in order to make the next step, currently they would need an injection and something that would go beyond something like a subsidy. I think it would be nice. That's what we discussed yesterday. If a large bank would find this interesting enough to just jump into it, and the problem here is to convince them of the fact that this wood, these logs have value enough to serve as a deposit. What do you call it? Yeah.
Yes, it's true.
Safety.
But yeah, we always need some money to grow every year. So that's for sure. Like, we are right now at a certain step that we will need some more money from the public, for sure. So I'm having a meeting this winter to see how we can find some help from the government to grow a little more, because there's just more and more trees that are being attacked by the emerald ash borer. So we need to find venues for all this wood. So
And are you talking about loans or subsidies?
I'm sorry?
When you say we need help from the province or government, are you talking about loans, so something you pay back, or subsidies?
No, subsidies.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Loans are good, but subsidies are better.
That's definitely true, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
If I gave you, let's say, $1 million, what would you do with the money?
Or just leave. No, I'm kidding. No. We do have an amazing project in mind. I won't lie to you. It might work in a few years. It's with the city of Montreal. So our wish is to have our own mill onto the island of Montreal. And in that very same place, we would have the mill, we would have the industrial dryer, we would have a solar dryer, and we would have all the equipment all at the same place. But also we would have in the same place a showroom for what you can do with the wood, so we can have people over from all over town to come and speak with us and see if they can use this wood into their projects. So, and that project
you'll have my contribution. I don't have $1 million, but I would definitely contribute. Tim, same question to you. If I gave you $1 million guilders or euros, let's say, what would you do with it?
And if I would answer this from the perspective of Stadshoudt Amsterdam, I think the answer is very clear and also very similar. They would buy a plot of land inside the city limits, where the sawmill that they already have would be placed, that people could visit as well. And that's what I explained yesterday. They have a very strong community feeling, and there's hundreds or maybe even thousands of people like involved in Stadshoudt Amsterdam that are in love with the initiative. And this could be a public place where people could also use the equipment to make their own stuff. They would buy probably new equipment as well. And if I would answer it from my own perspective as Nature and Environment Foundation, my own employer, I think we would invest it in infrastructure for networking. I think $1 million is a bit too much for that. So let's say a few thousand would also be very nice for that. But I think investing that in the support that these organizations, these beautiful organizations, can use a lot would be very helpful. And I saw a little bit earlier a question from Benjamin.
Yeah, I think Benjamin, like you, I think you wanted to ask a similar question.
Yeah, it was almost the same question as you, but in another way. It was yeah, what's because you said that you always need more money for developing. I was about to ask in what specific where you need the money. Is it for the transport? Is it for the machinery? Is it for drying? But you almost.
Benjamin, you, if I give $1 million to you, what do you like? It's also a similar investment that we would do. Like this what Marie-Ève was saying, huh? Like bigger operations, machinery,
exactly.
Space for drying. Like
Exactly.
I think it's a similar kind of dream that we have. So the good thing about like this particular activity is that we're not in competition. You know, like if you manage to pull it off in Montreal, it would be great for us because we could have like this example. I mean, which I always use. Huh? Like, look, it's not impossible. I mean, it sounds crazy to go against the world market and against Chinese exports and stuff. I mean, people think, I don't know if that's really feasible, but then no, look, in Montreal they're doing it, you know. And if you had like this bigger operations and a bigger sawmill, like an urban sawmill with with a showroom and like a physical manifestation of the ecosystem, like we could use this as an example to say, like, that's what we want to get at. But maybe we'll be faster and have it before you if we get the $1 million as well, and then it would be good for you to have this example as well, I suppose.
Yeah, but with this great quantity of food, with this great quantity of food, what is your main problem? I would say, maybe. Yeah. What is the main?
The main challenge is to keep it local. That's the main challenge, because Chinese do buy this wood a lot, and they do pay a really good money for it. If you look at what people buy in Quebec, ash trees they're being brought, but it's not the biggest seller in Quebec. So that's our main goal for this year, is to find some channels to resell it and keep it local.
I have two. Yes, thank you. I have two questions that relates to the cycle actually of materials, and I was wondering, in the case of Marie-Ève, what do you do when ultimately you never get to sell this wood? Are they converted in downcycled, or what is the process? And also my second question is when you answer to the question of additional funding and what would you do with the money, there is never the answer regarding plantation. So is that completely something out of the radar? That's just something you don't deal with, future plantation and possibly, you know, impacting the management of the future forest, like kind of, you know, restoring possibly the forest?
I'll just go with the second question first. So the plantation of the trees that's not what we do. This is managed by the cities across the province. So pretty much every single city, some cities are better than the others, but they always have a plan for replanting trees and replanting trees that mostly won't have any problem in the future, like ashes. And the first question is, oh yeah, what we do when we don't have channels to sell it. Well, for the moment, we did try to find, when we don't have local venues for the wood, what we do is we just tell the cities across the province that we cannot manage their wood. So sometimes they do go into public offers and some people can buy their woods, but sometimes it just gets cut down and it goes into compost.
Compost, yeah.
Here you go. So it usually goes there.
So can I summarize that you prefer to compost it locally than to export it to China?
For us, yes.
I can very much imagine.
Because I've heard, if you only knew like the things I hear about wood being exported and the way it is being exported, it's a problem because the logs are just being put into a container. L'écorce, how do you say écorce?
Bark.
The bark, yeah. Bark.
The bark? Yeah, the bark stays on the tree, which is a problem because it's infested all the way around. So it's being shipped overseas, and the problem is getting to the place it's being shipped at. So that doesn't make any sense. So yeah, for many reasons, we decided to just leave the cities manage their trees and to chip and compost.
Clear.
Look, guys, thanks a lot for this session. We unfortunately have to wrap up here because we're now going to one of the highlights of this local wood summit. We'll hear from Don from the Urban Wood Network in the US. So not to keep people waiting, we're wrapping up here. Thanks so much to Marie-Ève and Tim and all the others to join this discussion. The entire objective of the session was also to create a motivation to exchange further in the future, maybe through other channels. So I'm sure there will be other occasions to continue the discussion.